My eyes are matching my shirt.
We still need to get more florals in there.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I am here with Allesha Groom. How fitting. I never thought about that. How fitting is that? So I'm here with Allesha Groom. We're going to be talking today about the wedding planning process, and we're going to walk you through the steps. Allesha has a great background in wedding planning, has done it really all over the world in Hawaii before now. I know I'm not going to say that right, but I'll go ahead and start like that. Just before we get into it, though, just want everyone to know that this show is sponsored by Be Remembered. Be Remembered Weddings is where you can go ahead and create a wonderful wedding. We have a lot of wonderfuls here. So go ahead to BeRememberedWeddings.com to check that out today. We have it all, including Allesha. We have Allesha.
Yay.
Allesha, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where you started in this industry.
Well, I actually started in 2009 when I was serving in the Air Force. They said we need somebody to help out with events, and that kind of spiraled into morale events and then weddings. And so I've been doing this since about '09.
I love how it went from military to weddings.
It really did, and everyone thinks that's hilarious, but
Yeah.
that's really how I got my start. It was somebody was like, "Oh, you did a great job on the holiday party. Can you help me with my wedding?" And sure, why not?
Right.
And I love it. I love helping with happiness. I am such a sucker for the rom-com. So, doing this like whole happily ever after thing and getting to do it all the time is really fun. I really like it.
Wait, so what's the favorite rom-com? Since this is
It's
so
gonna be
important.
so cheesy.
Come on, give it to me. What do you got?
The Wedding Planner.
Of course it is. Oh my God.
It's so cheesy,
Okay.
but it's that one and The Princess Bride. Those are my two favorites.
Oh, all right. So we move on from military.
Moving
But yeah, so we got into weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it go from there? Did you start doing it by yourself? Was it more for an organization?
I definitely started all on my own. In fact, I was on my own up until I moved out here in Hawaii. I was on my own, and then I had to take care of my kids, do the mom thing for a little bit. And then you guys scooped me up. So I went from doing it individually to working with a company. I got to say the resources are really nice. Definitely a perk of the job.
Yeah.
I really like it. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah. And so why is it the organizational process of weddings that really do it? Like you have to be type A for something like this. correct?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so what really does it for you? Is it the completion of it all? Is it the running around? Like for me, for photography, I always talk about this. It's the, the capturing of that moment. But for you, you're creating the moment.
I think that's what it is. It's
Okay.
creating this moment. It's being in control, but being behind the scenes and getting to watch it all unfold. So we're there from, step one when they're picking out their venues, and then we watch this whole thing unfold, and we get to see this mini production happen.
Yeah.
And it's something that, we really did have this huge hand in creating, and
Right.
then to be able to put our own stamp on that and be like, you know what, we helped make this day even better.
Yeah.
But I like being in control.
Don't we all? But one of the things too that we talk about on this show all the time is the lack of information in weddings. I mean, it's one of the largest purchases of your life, and you've never done it before. Maybe you do it twice in your lifetime. Most are going to do it once. And so that's so challenging and scary for most couples.
Definitely.
Yeah. How do you help them in that regard? Is it hand holding or?
I think when I'm definitely talking to new clients, I put on a lot of like the mom voice, and it's the reassuring, but this firm, okay, we have to have a timeline. We have checklists. Like, I'm going to tell you what you need to do and when you need to do it, if they need it. Some couples don't need it at all, but some really do need that extra hand holding. So it's really just being that voice of reason for them, and also being able to organize everything and say, okay, you're having a hard time finding a DJ. Don't worry. I got many DJs for you. You're having a hard time finding a photographer. I've got a whole list of photographers for you to choose from.
So it's the resource portion.
Yeah. And we're definitely a resource. We organize, we plan, we're pulling together this one-time event.
Right.
We're not going to see this couple again. They're more than likely we're not going to get the exact same two people. So it's going to be a completely different production each time.
Huh. Yeah. I never
So-
thought about it that way. And a lot of the times too, when people struggle in any like new situation, it's because you just don't understand it. And I
Mhm.
feel like coming in and just being like, no, this is the list. Like this is the standard, right? Like here's something to start with. And that just lowers the stress level
Definitely does.
and lets you kind of focus on, okay, now I can actually think about what I want for these elements. I don't have to think about what elements I need. I can think about what I want for them.
Exactly. It's definitely giving them a jumping off point. Some
Mhm.
couples will be like, oh my gosh, the first thing and the only thing that I care about is the bar. And that's the first thing I need to book. And it's not the first thing you need to book.
Right.
So it's really kind of just dialing them back, giving them some direction and offering that roadmap
Yep.
to
Yep.
this planning process.
Yep.
And for the couples that have it all hammered down and, there's that one person in the dynamic that is type A,
Yeah.
those ones are really smooth sailing and we don't do as much. But for the couples that are going, I have no idea what to do. I don't even throw my own birthday party. They definitely,
So me.
yeah.
So you're talking about me. Okay. All right. Good to know.
I'm not talking about you.
I don't.
Somebody like you.
Yeah. I've heard of this person. Their name seems to be the same. It's weird. So, all right. Now that we know who our audience is for this, let's go ahead and help them out here. So in this first segment, let's get right into it and let's talk about you just got engaged.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Well, we're saying congratulations.
Fair enough.
We're staring at that ring.
Yeah.
We're sending pictures. We're calling family members. We're letting everybody know. And honestly, there is no time frame.
Mhm.
If you want to tell everybody the minute you get engaged, we're engaged,
Yep.
put it all out there. If you want to wait a few weeks until you have an engagement photo shoot,
Right.
then wait a few weeks.
Right.
But you got to tell somebody at some point so, people show up to the wedding.
That's a good
So,
thing, right?
My rule of thumb is I tell couples within about 4 weeks, 4 weeks, tell them, tell your family, tell your like close knit group of people, and then, have some time to take photos and, announce the way you really want to announce.
Are you an engagement party type person?
I am a proposal party type person.
Proposal party.
Yeah, I had a proposal party.
Wait, so is this the guy has to organize, or the person proposing has to organize everything, and then you go ahead, you propose, and you have everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're
Can you
one of those
imagine?
people.
You know my fiance. Can
Yes.
you imagine him
Likey.
planning a party?
Did he do it?
He planned.
Yeah.
He planned a whole proposal.
All right.
Yeah, invited
Props.
family, made sure everybody.
You know,
was on the
I
phone.
can see it with him actually.
Really?
Yeah. He looks like the guy that can just get things together when he needs to. Like he won't do it on his own, but if he knows it's important to someone else, he'll get it done.
Are you even spending time with Mikey?
Maybe not.
Do I have something to worry about? Oh no.
All right. So we threw our party. How extravagant do you go for these parties? I mean,
Honestly, that depends on the budget and it depends on the couple.
I think a restaurant, renting out something like
You
that.
can. Some
yeah.
people want to have a big to do. Honestly, you get brides who they've got the budget,
Yeah.
or couples in general. I don't want to just narrow it down to just brides. You get
Yeah.
couples in general who have a big budget and they want to celebrate every portion of this. And they're going to say, I want to have a huge engagement party. We're going to invite all of our friends and it's going to be this mass event that almost rivals the wedding. But then how do you top that?
Yeah. Right.
Make
Right.
sure you have a bigger budget. That's how you top it.
That's a fair point. Yep.
And then you have other ones who are going to go, I'd like to do it at a restaurant or maybe a backyard barbecue and just keep
Sure.
it really small, really intimate.
Yep.
So this is where it comes into interviewing your couples and,
Just figuring out what they want.
yeah,
Yeah.
asking them, getting to know them, building that relationship
Mm-hmm.
and just saying, okay, this is what we've got to work with and let's execute.
All right. So we went ahead. We told everyone.
Told everybody.
All right. Now we're in the first initial part. We're deciding if we even want a planner.
Oh,
Yeah. So we're like, hey, do we want one? Are we that type of people? Can we figure it out on our own? Is that the 12 to 18 months out? Where are we on the
I'd
scale?
say, after you get engaged, and in a perfect world, you get engaged a good 18 to 24 months before you plan your
I was
wedding.
going to say, so that's what you recommend.
In a perfect world.
Okay.
In a perfect world. That gives you time to plan an engagement party. It gives you time to get everything settled and start to figure out the details and make the announcements.
Gotcha.
But we're not always on that timeline. But yeah, I'd say 24 months prior would be the great time to get engaged. And then we're at 12 to 18 months out. And that's when you should be looking at hiring a planner and a coordinator.
Yep.
And understanding the difference between the two.
All right. So when we come back from the break, we're going to hire our planner. We're going to get right into it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you back here in just a few. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I'm with Allesha Groom on the Wonderful World of Weddings, and we'll be right back in just a sec, guys. Thank you. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered Weddings. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to find all of your wedding needs: photography, videography, event planning, DJ, photo booth, coordination, everything in-house. Oh, even makeup. And you can go ahead right at BeRememberedWeddings.com. Right now, I am joined with Allesha Groom. We just went through her whole backstory on the wedding planning. Today, we're getting into the wedding planning process. And Allesha, we're now engaged, and we have a planner.
Yes.
Well, not us, but
you
our couples.
Hired your planner. You've decided that you need a wedding planner and that you need somebody to help you do all this. If you're super type A organized, you can hire just a coordinator and they will help with the execution process. But at this point, you hired the planner. So they're going to plan and execute.
So what do we do first?
All right. So 12 to 18 months out, you need to hire the planner and you need to start looking at venues. Venues book up insanely fast.
And is that why you recommended the 18 to 24 months?
Yes.
Okay. Because the venue, you need that time.
Yes, you need that time. And especially with us being in New England, we are a hot wedding spot. We've got Boston, we've got Providence, we've got all of the venues down the Cape.
And New Hampshire.
Yeah, and New Hampshire. Maine's got a few. So, and then all of that, we're also a destination place. So everybody that moves away, people that like fell in love with the Cape, they all want to come out here. They all want to have their weddings. And a lot of these venues are booking 18 months in advance. My rule of thumb is 12 months in advance, but if it's a really, really popular venue and like,
popular time of year.
Yes. Popular time of year, summertime,
Summertime,
fall, September, October.
Wait, do you remember? I had to, I'm sorry.
You remember our September?
Yeah. I remember every time that song comes on at a wedding and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be in my head for 5 days.
Mine's the Shout one.
Yeah.
That one gets stuck in my head. It's, oh goodness.
Yeah.
You know what's sad? I know that my kids know that song from Trolls. That's what's sad. We're not getting Earth, Wind, and Fire here. They're getting Justin Timberlake, and this is what they remember.
Are you really upset at Justin Timberlake? I'm not.
He's no Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No,
though.
I agree with that. But it's Justin Timberlake. All right. So we're looking for our venue.
Yeah. So start looking for your venue. Some lists are going to say 9 to 12 months out. I'm saying 12 to 18 months out. Get in on that early, because if you lock in the venue and you get an all-in-one venue, then you also lock in your caterer, which is another big one.
Okay.
So the earlier you can lock in the venue and the caterer, the easier it's going to be for you. Smooth sailing.
And so for your venue, and you touched on catering, so we'll go into that too. You're booking them together most of the time, correct?
If it's an all-in-one venue, yes.
Okay. And tastings.
Yeah. So tastings are really at the discretion. I haven't seen a caterer that doesn't offer a tasting, but their timelines are varying.
Okay.
So there's many things that we have to consider here. Like if you're having a June wedding, there are a bunch of other brides having a June wedding as well. You want to get that tasting scheduled well before June. You want to do it, at least 6 months out, if possible, if the caterer is going to let you get in. Because not only are you scrambling to get in to do your tasting for your June wedding, you've got a bunch of other brides scrambling to get in. And on top of that, these caterers not only do weddings, but they're doing other functions as well. So you got to kind of work around their busy season.
Okay.
So if your caterer says we do our tastings 12 weeks in advance, then they do the tastings 12 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
If they don't give you a timeline, I highly, highly recommend 6 months out at the very minimum. If not, let's try and get that tasting done 9 to 12 months.
Okay. Wonderful. And then so our next big accomplishment once we have that venue, because it really all pivots on that venue, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Your date pivots on the venue. Yep. The time of the ceremony will depend on the venue. They all have their own rules and stuff that they follow. So you kind of have to juggle all that.
Who's our next vendor that you're recommending?
I'd say your bar and then your photographer, videographer, DJ.
So the bar, okay, so that's interesting right there. I have a lot of questions. So bars, are you getting them from outside?
You can.
You can. Okay.
You can. It depends on the laws of your state.
Okay.
It depends on the venue's rules and regulations itself and licensing. So
right, liquor license.
Yes. So in Massachusetts, you can get like a bar cart.
Okay.
And do you can just rent the cart and not have any bartenders there and do like a self-service like at a backyard wedding, and that's totally fine. The second you go into an establishment, you have to follow the liquor license. Does the establishment have a liquor license? Are they going to allow you to bring in a bar cart? And then are you going to be able to hire bartenders that are licensed to serve alcohol?
Okay.
So that's where the contracts come into play too. And we'll read through the contracts and make sure
that's a big job of the planner, right?
Yes, huge job. That's one of the biggest jobs. We do everything off of the contracts.
Okay.
We build the timeline off the contracts. I could do a whole segment on just the contracts. So I digress. But no.
Read your contracts, people.
Yeah, read your contracts. Make sure your planner reads your contracts.
Yep.
The bar, though, oftentimes will also be tied in with the venue, the caterer. If you get lucky, those all-in-one venues, the all-inclusive are just, in my opinion, the easiest to work with.
Okay.
But if you don't, we did a wedding this summer, bar cart. They bought all of the alcohol, and this was all completely legal.
Yep.
And then they hired licensed bartenders to serve. Easy peasy.
Okay.
And then they had to stop serving 30 minutes before the end of the event. Everything was still in conjunction with mass law. So,
okay.
Good options.
All right. So then my next question. So you're booking photo and potentially video prior to DJ.
Oh, I would do them all around the same time.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're running into photographers book up quickly.
Yep.
Videographers book up quickly. DJs, bands book up quickly.
Yeah.
And you have to decide whether or not you want the DJ or the band.
And one thing too that I just want to point out for couples, I don't know if you suggest this, but I'm sure you do. For bands, making sure that they have the audio equipment for either ceremony, if you're doing a separate ceremony, or they have an MC who can run the night through. Because a lot of the times for introductions, that's what your DJs are doing. They're introducing people, they're lining people up. They're really playing a role in that timeline of the night, just like you are.
Definitely.
And I find that bands can be a hit or miss in doing this. Sometimes they will, and sometimes like, no, we don't touch that.
I definitely, and if you have a solid planner, and I definitely do this, is I reach out, regardless band or DJ, before, introduce myself, and then send them a copy of the timeline, and then ask them if they're going to MC.
Yep.
Read through that contract, see if they have an MC. And if they don't have an MC, sometimes that does fall onto the planner.
Yep.
And we'll be happy to announce, and we'll be happy to make these like special little one-off announcements here and there. It's not a big deal, but what I find is, especially if it's a DJ, they usually like to do it all themselves, and they're usually really good at it. Let them do their job.
Right.
But they're booking up fast, especially if it's like a popular band.
Yep.
They're going to book up quickly, and they're going to book up 9 to 12 months in advance.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Book early on everything, people.
I know. It makes our life so much easier too.
So
we can
easier.
organize everything around you. Yeah. The earlier you book, even for video, that was something that people do not think to book video at the same time they book photo.
Oh, and they definitely should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. And video really exploded from COVID. And so, you're sitting there and you're just like, hey, this is not the same service in so many ways, but also the same timeline wise. And they just don't think about that. People are just like, oh, we'll book that last minute. I'm like,
yeah. And
good
with
luck.
videographers, like photography, the market is very saturated.
Yeah.
I say to book early because if you are like dead set on a specific style, or you really love a specific photographer and they're popular, especially if their like bread and butter is weddings, you're going to have to book into their season early.
Yeah.
And videographers, what we run into with videographers is the couples that really want their videographer, there's a shortage of videographers. There's not as many as photographers. So book your videographer. So, you know, you have a videographer. You know, book one so you have one.
Yeah. Yep. Here's an interesting question for you. The photographer. Do you find that a lot of them do both the engagement shoot and the wedding?
Yes.
We do. And I personally enjoy this. I get to find what the couple wants and really go through it. But is that something that you typically find as well?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I highly recommend that couples book their photographer to do the engagement shoot. And that way they can make sure that they like them. Because if they don't like them, then you got some photos out of it. Go find somebody else.
Right.
Like, you want to have a good relationship with these people. They're taking pictures that you're going to look at for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Make it count.
Exactly.
All right, guys, we will be right back after this short break. It has been the wonderful world of weddings here with me, Daniel Krikorian, and Allesha Groom. She is talking all about wedding planning, and she's going to be back with us in just a few seconds, and we'll continue the conversation.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go, with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day, it's ours to take, and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian here, and we are sponsored by Be Remembered Weddings, where you can actually go ahead and build your perfect wedding with us, our wonderful wedding, actually, as we say. So go ahead and go to BeRememberedWeddings.com. We have photo, video, event planning, DJ, makeup, coordination, and if I didn't say it already, planning. And that is why we have the wonderful Allesha Groom with us. Oh, yeah. And so we are in the middle of having a good conversation of your timeline from the time you got engaged all the way up to that big day. We're currently in the 9 to 12 month range, and we just finished up talking about your 3 really big vendors outside. Not to say that the rest aren't important. We're going to get into those. But the 3 big vendors that you have to book early on because you may enjoy their style or they may be very niche. And so you want to go ahead and grab them before they get booked up. So we went through our photographer, our videographer, and our DJ. Now we're going to get into this invitation nonsense. We were just talking about this during the break. We have mixed feelings here.
I didn't say mixed feelings. I think we have a range of feelings.
I have mixed feelings. So, all right, give me the lowdown.
Invitations.
Yes.
Okay, so again, this is another thing that's going to depend on budget.
Okay.
So you can either have a big budget for your invitations where you're going to have, you know, butterflies fly out of the box and hopefully they're all still alive. And there's going to be like the, you know, menu card where you check chicken or fish. And then there's going to be the RSVP card and then the actual invitation and all this other stuff. And you can get those custom done. You can order them online. You can find like a printer that'll do them. Either way, you want to start shopping 9 to 12 months out. If you're going to do online invitations and just do, which is what we were all talking about before, was just doing them online. And
it seems so convenient.
I'm for the convenience of it. I definitely have brides that really love the whole production, so they're going to do the big thing. And if you want anything custom, it's always going to take more time.
Sure.
But 9 to 12 months out, shop and be prepared to order at least the save the dates.
Okay.
And get that all taken care of.
When do those go out typically?
Save the dates go out, I'd say, about 9 months.
Okay.
No less than 6 months.
Okay.
If
versus the invitation?
Yeah, the invitation should be going out between that 6 and 4 month range, unless it's a destination wedding, and then it needs to go out
Of course. Yeah.
a couple months earlier to give everybody time for planning.
Mm-hmm. For
So,
travel arrangements.
yeah.
Mm.
Like I just got my brother's in April, but he's got a bunch of people going out. We're all going to Atlanta.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
and people are
Yep.
flying from all across the country. So he sent his invitation. I think I got it mid last month, right around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So,
Yep. That
or
makes
end
sense.
of last month.
So he is full 6 months.
Yep.
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 Okay.
And he did the card, like the actual invitation, and then the save the date was a magnet that I got, I want to say over the summer.
Okay.
So for an April wedding, and I got the save the date in the summer, which is right on time.
But you were saying you're petrified that you're going to lose the actual, the card.
The RSVP card. So I have it. The save the date was fine because that was a magnet. So
Yeah.
it just was on my fridge. But this, like, I have one of those clip magnets too. And I'm afraid that my kids are going to lose it, which is why I like online invitations and
Right,
like doing
right,
it
right.
online, because I'm not going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so you have to make sure if you're doing anything custom that you order that stuff and you're shopping 9 to 12 months out, get it ordered. Always the sooner, the better. Invitations, though, you can't order until you have your venue.
Right.
And then
right.
if you're doing a big fancy invitation where you're doing menu cards and people are having a food selection,
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that if you're sending that out with your invitation, you have to make sure that you got your tasting done before.
Yep.
So there's all these things that have to happen before you can send the invitations out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have to happen before you order the invitations because you're going to have to order extra things.
Right. And actually, so that pulls us right into our next segment, which I really want to talk about. These online invitations, they can be done through sites like The Knot. I've gotten one from The Knot before.
Yep.
We're going to have a whole other podcast
Yes.
on wedding websites because
Yeah.
there's so much to dive into here. But yeah, those sites do pick up a lot of the slack in terms of invitations, RSVPs, et cetera, right?
Oh,
Even meals,
yeah.
they're incredible.
No,
I
they
got a
definitely
text
do.
message and it was just like, RSVP to their wedding. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
RSVP to the wedding, you pick your meal choices and you
Yeah.
do it online. And then if there's any type of issue or something that needs to be updated, a lot of couples are just updating their wedding websites and then ding, it all comes up on your phone and boom.
Wow.
So definitely for the modern couple or
Yeah.
the budget conscious couple.
Yeah.
I don't think that paper invitations are going anywhere anytime soon.
I know.
There's
I
like
know.
a level of nostalgia and extravagance and
Yeah.
and then for the people that really like having that
Yeah.
hard invitation in your hand.
Have you ever used Minted?
I have. I like it.
Okay.
I have a lot of brides that love Minted, and they have a million different options.
Okay.
So you really can get that customized feel, and you can still get something really elegant, really nice, something that really feels like high standard,
Yeah.
and not break the bank over it.
Okay. My sister loves it. She uses it for everything.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you think? I'm like, it's a card.
Yeah, but it's a card that she like put a lot of effort
Yeah,
into,
yeah.
and she got to like kind of design.
Well, my photos landed on the last one, so I was pretty
well,
excited.
there you go.
Yeah. She's like, do you recognize it? I was like, yeah, I took it. I was like, yeah, I know exactly what that was. But yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So, in just two of our big ones, so I got one from The Knot and just finishing up wedding websites. And then Zola was another one that's very popular right now that does a lot of that same feature for the invitations. I like The Knot. I think it was pretty easy. In terms of my interaction with it. I don't know for the couple, we'll get into a whole thing on that, but in terms of my ignorance, it was fabulous. I went in there, I said, this is what I want. This is when I want it. All right, I'll be here. I added it to my calendar. I was happy.
Yeah.
I didn't miss the wedding.
And yeah, you don't miss it. And then on the back end of that, because some brides will give us access to all of that to track their RSVPs and everything. It comes in, we see it all. So we see all the back end stuff and we say, okay, this person RSVP'd, they're coming, they're bringing a date, they both want the chicken,
Right.
Which works out great because when the seating chart goes out and the caterer gets the seating chart and they need to know, who ordered the chicken, who ordered the fish, they're at table 7. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Oh, it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
We used to have to do it all by hand.
That sounds horrible.
Back in 2009.
Yeah. What a world. Only 11. How many years? What year are we in? 2022?
2022.
Oh, goodness gracious.
2009. How old were you in 2009, Dan?
I was young. I was a baby.
You're a baby.
I was a baby. No, I wasn't a real baby.
I was a baby.
I mean, yeah. I was young though. My
Mhm.
goodness. All right. Well, who's next?
Mm, the dress.
The dress.
The dress.
Dress.
So
We have some problems with the dress right now.
no, it's just life since COVID. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So the dress.
And we're still in this 9 to 12 month range.
We're still in this 9 to 12 month range. You do a lot 9 to 12 months out. And I'm going to sit there and say, and I'm going to hammer this down, ladies, start shopping for your dress 12 months.
Really?
Like start window shopping the second he puts that ring on your finger. And there's a lot of reasons. First off, trends change, styles change. So if you're having a long engagement, you want to make sure that you're shopping. If you're trying to meet a certain size or whatever, things are going to change. You want to make sure there's time for adjustments.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm saying 12 months out, or as soon as you get that ring on your finger, start at the very least window shopping. 12 months out is when you really need to start hitting the shops. And a lot of these shops, you have to book your appointment. You've got to pay for your appointment. You got to make sure that's available. You got to make sure that, mom's available, mother of the groom's available, your best friend's available. So it's a lot of coordination just to get this appointment going if you're going to bring more than one person. And then due to COVID, we're having shipping delays.
Yep.
There's worker shortages. A lot of these dresses are not being locally made or sourced in the United States, so they're coming from other countries. You have to give enough time for the dress to be made and then shipped. Shipping itself doesn't take too long, but making this elaborate gown, some of them are really elaborate and intricate, that takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication and a lot of attention to detail. And so we're talking months.
Speaking of time, we're going to take a quick break right now, and we'll be back in just a few. We're going to talk about our florists in the 9 to 12 month range, and then we're going to get into our 6 to 8 months to wrap it up. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be right back. I'm here with Allesha Groom, and this is The Wonderful World of Weddings with Daniel Krikorian. See you in just a few. Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Wonderful World of Weddings. We are so happy to have you here. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding experience. We have a lot of wonderfuls here, and go to BeRememberedWeddings.com for that wonderful wedding experience, where you can book photography, videography, event coordination, makeup, photo booth, DJ, and planning. And that's why I have the lovely Allesha Groom with me today, and we are talking about the planning process. We are still working our way through 9 to 12 months. We have so much going on in this time frame. We're actually going to finish it up with our florist right now and touch over that, even though it's a very important part of your day. But we do want to get into the 6 to 8 months, where we're going to wrap that all up for you and try to help you out here, because we know how stressful the wedding planning process can be. And we've really gone through it all now. We've been engaged. We've gone ahead. We got our planner. We've got our venue. We just talked about the invitations for a big part of it. We already booked our photo, video, and DJ. We talked about the dress, some of the problems there. Our florist. Now, there are so many options for florist right now, but we got to be brief here. So I don't even know how to do that. I mean, geez.
So with a florist, I feel like everybody starts at Google. They go to Google, you're in your 9 to 12 months, you're like, florist near me.
Yeah.
I like to go to Instagram.
Okay.
That's my place to go, especially if I've already met with the bride and they've said, I want hydrangeas and I have this vision. And, so I'm going to go on Instagram, and that's where I'm going to start perusing, because that's where people post their best photos, their best work. Yeah. But yeah, you want to book that florist that 9 to 12 months out. And then the florist is going to talk to you about these big things with your elements, or the big elements with your wedding, like your color scheme and maybe like the theme of your wedding. And then meeting with them this early is good too, because it helps you understand what you can get during that time of year. and if anything needs to be special ordered.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a big budget bride and you want to throw a lot of money into the florals and you want to have these, specific type of orchids or something, A, you got to make sure that the florist can get them, B, that they're going to be in season, and that if they need to be transported in any way, shape, or form, that it can be done and done in time.
Okay.
So you definitely want to do all that. And it really helps build out the decor. Like a lot of it starts with the florals and the centerpieces.
Huh.
So you don't have to have floral centerpieces, but that definitely is a lasting trend. But you at least want to look at, bouquets, boutonnieres, corsages, an arbor, or if you want any flowers on your archway for the ceremony. This is all stuff that you're going to talk about with that florist in that 9 to 12 month range.
Okay, so we did that. Now we're in 6 to 8 months.
Now we're in 6 to 8 months.
So we're getting a little bit closer to the date. Our next thing is we're going after hairstylists and makeup.
Yes. Another place, Instagram.
Really?
Instagram.
Yeah, well, I mean, the photos are key, right?
It really is. And that's where I go first. I ask the brides, do you want glam? Do you want natural? And it's always a toss up 50-50 on whether or not I want glam, natural, or something kind of in between.
Yeah.
And then you go on Instagram and you peruse. I have a list of makeup artists that I really like in this area that brides really like.
And we have them too.
Yes, we do. Did you get your makeup done?
No.
I keep saying you should totally
No,
do
I
it.
had to be an assistant.
Oh, go on.
I cleaned brushes. And every time the bridesmaids were clapping whenever I cleaned one. I was like, I did it. They're like, we're so proud. I'm like, yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was great. And Tara's just like, God, you do that so well. I was like, thank you. If I'm going to be here at 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to do this job right.
There you go. Clean those brushes. But yeah, you want to lock down that beauty team and you want to get your trials started.
Yep, absolutely.
If you don't like them, you need to be, if you don't like your trial, you need to be able to say, I don't like this.
Yes.
And let them know. Give them feedback. Be honest with your beauty team.
Yep.
This is their job.
And they can fix it too.
Yes,
they can do another
totally
trial.
fix it.
They can, I mean, most of the time people just don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And it's
And
fair.
the trial is, if you walk into your trial and you're like, this is not what I wanted at all, let them know. Don't smile, say thank you, and walk away.
Right.
Say, this looks great, but this isn't what I was looking for. Show them pictures. Always come prepared with pictures of what you want.
Yep.
So they have something to go off of, and then they can work out a plan. If you don't get a second trial in, that's okay too. You're dealing with a highly skilled professional.
Yep.
They know what they're doing. And if you trust them, they're going to give you something amazing.
Speaking of amazing,
Yes.
I want cake.
Well, we all want cake.
By the ocean?
I want cake. I want donuts. I want the whoopie pies. The
God.
dessert bar.
Yeah.
I love the dessert bar trend. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love the donut walls.
Yes.
Those are hilarious.
That's another one. 6 to 8 months out, book your dessert vendor.
Okay.
Schedule your tasting,
Yep.
which is a lot more fun than the dinner tasting, in my opinion. And roll into transportation
Yeah.
if you're going to do it. I highly recommend transportation for destination weddings.
Is that a big thing now still? Limos, the whole 9 yards? Yeah.
Limos, it's party buses. And we're
I
seeing
see
a lot of
those
the
a lot
buses.
more, yep.
The trolley is big on the Cape. Like we see that, and in Boston too.
Yep.
People want to drive around in style, and you're getting transportation from, you're getting ready location to the to the ceremony.
Yep.
And if the ceremony is in a different location, then you're going to the reception. And then you have guests. If it's like one of these Cape Cod weddings, that's destination. These guests are staying in multiple different hotels. They might not have had rental cars. So getting like that nice little van or bus or something, and it's not like a school bus. I mean, you can get a school bus.
I've seen that too,
But
actually.
These are like nice, comfortable luxury vehicles that
Yep.
you get to ride around in style.
Yeah. And so on here, I see this, and I did not think this one in this order, but are we really booking our hotels last?
So I have some personal thoughts on room blocks.
Okay.
Your night of accommodations for the bride and groom, definitely that 6 to 8 month range, even 12 months if you know exactly what hotel you're staying
Well, I
in.
guess that's a good point. I mean, 6 to 8 is still a good amount of time.
Yeah, and you also have to keep in mind of when hotels are going to release their bookings and open that and open it up so you can get into them. So some of them won't release their bookings 12 months out.
Yep.
So if you, and I, like I said before, earlier is better, always going to be better. But yeah, 6 to 8 months out for the night of accommodation. Room blocks, I'm going to go ahead and call it. That might be a dying trend.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's not very lucrative for the hotels, and they're not often the best deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I called for a bride down the Cape a few weeks ago, and I think I called about 9 different hotels, and nobody was offering room blocks. They said the season was too busy. They don't make enough money off of them.
Huh.
The major hotel chains are still definitely doing room blocks, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got some budget conscious guests or you're trying to get them the best deal, I mean, who doesn't want to, have a good deal? Booking.com, Airbnb,
Yep.
VRBO.
There's so many of them now.
There's so many different places.
Yep.
And I tell all my guests, we'll do the room block, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, your guests are adults. They know how to book all this. And,
Right.
they might appreciate the room block, but at the same time, they might want to find something that's more within their price range as opposed to yours. And like I said, they're not always the best deal. And you don't always get the deepest discounts with room blocks.
Gotcha. All right. Well, look, today we're going to wrap it up there, just in the regards of our time frame, because those are the big components for the planning process. Everything under really that 6-month time frame, you're starting to execute, right? You're starting to get into that more coordination style.
Yeah, and
planning.
we're doing a lot of making sure that things are buttoned up. We're crossing the I's, we're dotting the T's, we're communicating with your vendors, we're adding last minute trips on your transportation or saying we need to change a route. We're talking with the florist and, confirming things. We're doing a lot of confirming 6 months to the day of.
Right.
And vendor communication and putting out fires that imaginative, figurative fires.
Yes.
And if it's a real one, we'll put that out too. We do it all.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that definitely covers up a lot. What I want to tell everyone, though, if you're having any trouble, if you're planning it on your own, or if you have questions before, maybe you're just a soon-to-be bride and you're sitting here and you're saying, oh, I'm listening to this, but you didn't answer this. Guys, go to beerrememberedweddings.com/podcast. You can actually email us right there. You can fill out our inquiry form. And you can just let us know of these questions so I can bring Allesha back on here or another planner, and we can bring up this information and say, hey, this is your solution. This is your, and actually that's great. We have just a few minutes here. Any last minute pieces for the bride that you can think of that are sticky points here?
Yeah. Brides, if you are a last minute bride or a procrastinating bride and waited till the last minute to book your dress and you're in the New England area.
This is a great one.
This is the one that I was telling you about earlier.
Yep.
Boston Bridal Rack has designer dresses off the rack. Vows has off the rack dresses. Anthropology has a line, and they've got a store in Chestnut Hill in Newton. BHLDN or Bolden.
BHLDN.
I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Either way, or if I'm supposed to say the whole acronym. Either way, these are 3 local New England shops where you can go and get an off-the-rack dress and not have to be so concerned with that timeline. If you want something custom, if you want something like full-on ordered, shop 12 months in advance. If you're last minute, check out those stores or online options.
Okay, that is a great one. I know you and I talked about this too. The shortage of seamstresses. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the labor shortage, the shipping delays, the dress is becoming a little bit more cumbersome than it used to be.
Okay, that's a great one, actually. One of our next episodes, we're going to really dive into the wedding website, how you're going to design it, where the best places we recommend. And then one of the other pieces, too, of this, the secondary side, the booking process, that 4 to 5 months, that's what we're going to really dig into on that second episode, which I think will be really helpful. The planning, because it's the first one booked, we really wanted to dive into this and be like, hey, really get on this, you know? And there's so many questions involved.
Yeah, there's so many.
People don't even understand the value of a planner and what they do have.
No, they don't. Not until it's always, 9 times out of 10, it's always the groom that says, I don't know why we hired this person. And then at the end of the night, it's always the groom that says, we couldn't have done it without you.
Right.
And it's always the groom.
And look, I don't mean to say this in a in a is it rude? It's not really rude, but like a lot of these sites nowadays, they convince you, they're like, you can do it on your own. We're a planning site. Like, you're not.
The planning site. You know what, brides, listen up. Even if you are the most type A person, hire a day of coordinator.
Yep.
Because if you don't hire a day of coordinator, the person that's going around putting out all the fires, the person that's going to go around and, deal with angry grandma, or, the relative that showed up that shouldn't have been there, or the cake did something wrong, ends up being your maid of honor, your best friend, your mom, people that you want to spend your day with, people that have maybe helped out pay for this wedding and now they don't even get to enjoy it and all that stuff. So
and
enjoy your party.
It's so underappreciated too, because a lot of times you're putting out fires that people don't even know are happening. And so
exactly, that's
the funniest part is people are like, oh, it was such an easy day. It was so simple. I didn't even, know of any problems. And meanwhile, our coordinators were just like, hey.
I told you about the one where the lady cut her hand on the chair.
Yeah.
She cut her hand on the chair. We had to administer first aid. It was still bleeding. She didn't want to go to the hospital. Like, the couple had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up on that. So we really appreciate you joining us. We really hope that you got a lot of information out of Allesha here. She's been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been The Wonderful World of Weddings. And like I said, please go to our website, berememberedweddings.com/podcast, and let us know of any questions or anything that you want discussed and talked about. In the meantime, check out berememberedweddings.com for all of your wedding needs to have a wonderful wedding experience at berememberedweddings.com, and for photography, videography, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth. I think I got it all.
I think you got it all.
So guys, have a great day, and we will see you soon. Thanks for joining.